Let me know when you're ready. You're good?
Recording in progress.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to General Council for December 10th, 2024. Attendance roll call. I have Amos Key online, Carrie, Helen, Audrey, she might be out on business, Dale, I'm not sure where Dean is. I have Greg, Hazel, Leslie, Melba, and I don't see Elena here, and I have Cynthia. Still can't hear you. No. Sorry for the difficulties, everyone. Okay, so let's go to number 2, identification of media. I don't see any. Let's go to number 3. Let's take a moment of deep reflection to remember and pay respects to those that we have recently lost. Council is especially saddened by a recent loss of an employee, Sean Coaster. Before we do a minute of silence, I'm going to talk a little bit about Sean. Sean started his career with Six Nations as a staff cleaner with the housing department on February 26, 2024. Sean was responsible for cleaning service across both our organization and community, from the housing office, lands and membership, White Pines Wellness Center, Ontario Works, Eagle's Nest, to the offices at the Iroquois Village Center. His professional qualities and outstanding work ethic are echoed in the words of his supervisor, Andrew Paulus. If you worked after hours, you could hear Sean humming and singing as he was cleaning. He took pride in the outcome of his work, and I knew he appreciated the opportunity to serve our community. Although he worked during the night when everyone was at home, everyone felt his presence when they came in the next day. All of us at Six Nations of the Grand River Elected Council join in expressing our sincere condolences to his family, friends, and co-workers. Can we take a minute of silence? Yeah. Let's go to number 4, adoption of the agenda. Is there any additions or deletions of the agenda? Melba, did you have one? Can you use your mic? And where would you like it put?
Yes, yes. I have an elder here tonight who would like to say a few words to council.
So is it okay if we put her in the delegations?
Yes?
Okay. Okay, so yeah.
Would I be able to go after number 6? Because I gotta head over to the fire station.
Okay.
For community updates.
Oh, for community updates? Sure. Yeah, community updates. And Helen? Helen, and then Greg. Okay. With those additions and moving update from community committee, is there a mover to accept the agenda? Moved by Helen, second by Cynthia. All in favor? Anybody opposed? See none, carried. Let's go to number 5. Melba, your delegation.
I have Carolyn here tonight, and certainly we've talked very positively about assisting the elders in the community, and talking also about a hub that was mentioned. So I would imagine the organizations are getting that off the ground. But before that happens, we continue to have problems, and if we can hear from Carolyn about some of the areas that she's concerned about.
Yes. Come on up, Carolyn. Can we help her push the button? Yeah. Linda will help and push the button for you to speak in. So you can have a seat. Yep, have a seat. See how to
Hello.
There you go. Yep. Go ahead.
Um, I've, I've been talking to Melba because she lives where I live, and I was telling her I had to pay for certain medication, and she told me I could get reimbursed. Take my receipts, and so I took them over to White Pines, and from there I went down to Brenda Moody, and she's giving me a hard time. She says that there's no funding for that. And one medication I take, I had to buy it for my eyes the rest of my life. And she says she can't keep funding me or reimbursing me. And, but she was supposed to hand in my paper to the finance guy to see if it was approved. But she just gave me the runaround. I don't like that. To me, seems like it's her money. She says she don't have no money. And then she says that it's like for people in high needs. And I've got what you call here. I would like you to read.
Sure, I can. Where would
she said?
you want me to read this?
Yes,
Okay,
all the way down.
all the way
Mine
down.
is in that blue. Hers is in that clear.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
That's what she says.
So I'll read this. Well, so can we, I'm gonna get Jennifer Court to, check in on this for you.
And then the one receipt I had to pay my doctor $30 before he wrote a prescription for compression socks. So she wants to talk to my doctor and ask him why.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then the third thing there was like, there's no funding. Like I was not likely to get reimbursed. She says, because there's no funding.
Okay, so we'll get, for sure Jennifer to look into that. And I think also maybe we can get the senior relief fund also to look into that to get it covered. Yeah. I know there was some questions. Is it okay if counselors ask you some questions?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Helen.
No, I just wanted to know who did you say you talked to? Brenda?
Brenda Moody.
And who is she?
I guess she's from Community Care.
Community Care? Oh, across the road?
I guess so.
And does anybody know what her role is? I don't know her myself. So, do they have a program that reimburses people for medicine? I'm asking Melba because Melba's the one that told her she could get reimbursed.
Yeah, well, we have a fund where Sherry Lynn is the one that's a few years ago, she was getting a lot of calls about medical, for example, and that was included in the relief for seniors to get reimbursed. And what you're hearing is she used the word runaround.
Yeah, I know.
She's going from place to place, and what we
Yeah.
don't have is a directory related directly for elders. So we know they know how to get sanitation. Of course, not in our building, but otherwise. But some of the areas are covered, but others aren't. So it's very unfair for having our seniors. Many of them don't have a car. They
Yeah.
have to ask their relatives or take a taxi or whatever to get somewhere. Right now, it's raining, and I knocked on her door, but I wanted to give her a ride, but she already got a ride with someone. So that's why she's here, is what are we going to do to improve immediately the, I guess, the care of the elders.
Well, I thought we had don't we not have a health advocate that's supposed to call Health Canada if somebody doesn't get funded for their medicine to work for them to get the medicine? We used to have, I think we still have, don't we?
Yeah, we have a senior advocate.
Yeah,
Mhm.
she should be calling Health Canada to say, why is this woman's medicine not covered? And then Health Canada, they can make, a lot of times they get it covered if somebody calls and says stuff. If you don't say anything, they're not gonna cover it. But I don't know what her name is. I don't know who works for us anymore.
But yeah, that's what we just wrote down. That's good. We'll look
Yeah.
into that too, Helen. Greg, did you have something?
Yeah, you take a list of, you have a list of medications that you take?
That's crazy. I know my daughter, she has to pay for her test strips. And the
Yeah.
doctor wants her to do it 3 times a day. She has to pay for her test strips because she's not on insulin. She's diabetic, but she's not on insulin. People with insulin get their test strips
These are
paid
covered
for.
under non-insured health benefits,
I don't know
right?
what the difference
These are
is, but
covered except for this one.
they're expensive. They're like
This is
$100
the
for a
newer
little bitty
medication.
bottle.
So what's happened is outside.
Okay. So
Yeah. The problem is it's outside the non-insured.
is that okay if we take all that too? Is that good? We'll give that to Jennifer.
Okay.
Can we give that to? Is that okay if we give it to Jennifer? Okay. Everything's paid for except her eye drops. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Go ahead. Yep. You can have a seat again.
Yeah, thanks, Carolyn, for that. Yeah, I worked under the non-insured health benefits, providing prescriptions over 32 years. The non-insured health benefits, I actually was an advisor for non-insured health benefits about 20 years ago. What we tried to do is tried to upgrade their system. One of the things that we looked at was new medications and medications outside the non-insured health benefits coverage. Often the government refuses to pay for those because, especially if they're outside non-insured health benefits, they're often more expensive. Again, the government, of course, tries to, save money. One of the other things too is there were exceptions that you could ask for if you provided a exceptional reason for it by your doctor. That sometimes helped. But some of these are newer medications, whereas they would supply older medications, medications sometimes that are not really that current. That's the practice of non-insured health benefits. That's one of the problems we have to deal with. I do sympathize with your problem. I saw many patients that when I prescribed the medication, I had to come back and change the medication to something that was either similar or something that they covered years in past. So that was one thing that we tried to get around it. I'm not sure that I think this is a newer medication, so it may fall outside the non-insured health benefits. Non-insured.
Box. I says, okay, my eyes need it, I'll get it, you know? But then another couple of days later, some lady, I don't know who she was, but she called me and asked what pharmacy I'd deal with. So I said, pharmacy here in Schweigen.
Mm-hmm.
She called and told him I want two. But that's like $60, but they knock off a couple of bucks, so I pay 58 something for 2 boxes.
Right. So you don't mind if we just take the list that you gave us and then we could just do
No,
some
you-
due diligence on our end
Yeah.
and see
I
what's
got the
covered,
name of
what's
my
not covered?
doctors and eye doctors. I pay so much on my reading glasses because I'm a diabetic, so I see the eye doctor every year. But every 2 years, I get new eye glasses, reading
Right.
glasses.
Great. Okay,
got
so we would do
everything there.
further due diligence on our end to see if we could navigate through that system for you. No guarantee. Sometimes it's outside the non-insured health benefits coverage, so, but we would get back to you on that if that's okay with you.
Yeah. How long is that going to take?
She's doing an email right now.
She's working on it right away.
Gee.
So
Just
fairly,
across the road
hopefully,
from each other, don't you communicate?
yeah, hopefully fairly soon.
Yeah. The other thing is too, we'll also get an update, and maybe for the next council, general council, is an update on the senior hub, that, and see where that is at, because they're supposed to be having a senior hub where there's just one number you call, and then they answer it, and then they're able to help you instead of all these other numbers.
Mm-hmm.
There's just one number going to be for seniors to call.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When's that gonna be?
That's what we're gonna get a follow up on that also. I'll see where that's at. Go ahead, Helen.
Yeah, she also said she had to pay her doctor $30 to get a prescription for, is it pressure salt?
Compression stocking.
Compression salt?
So,
You know, with us, with the First Nations people having the highest rate of diabetes in this country, I can't imagine Health Canada cutting out diabetes stuff like that. A lot of people with diabetes use these socks, and they're not paying for it.
well, I finally, he wrote the prescription. I got my stockings, I got one pair.
Oh, if you,
But I asked the pharmacy lady, I says, how many pairs am I allowed? She says, 4. I says, okay, I got 1. I said, January, put me down for 4. And I'll stop bothering you.
also you get those. It's just that you had to pay your doctor for the
Yeah.
prescription.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Carolyn. So we'll get the other information from Melba to get a hold of you, and yeah, and we'll get back to you. Like Jennifer, she's sending an email right now.
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else?
Well, I got this new one, my receipt for my recent medication. You got that?
We all have that.
Oh, you have it?
Yeah, we just took photocopies so you can have the originals.
Okay, but the other ones I took over to that Kaylin over at White Pines, and that was on the 19th. And it's been almost a month. So far, nothing really been done, except for this moody woman taking her sweet ass time. Mm-hmm. I don't know what position she's got, but she's got to talk to my doctor, and he's only in his office on Tuesday and Thursday.
Okay.
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 Yeah.
And if we need anything else, Melba, can we get her contact info? Oh, do you have it? Okay. We have your contact information, Carolyn. So we know how to get a hold of you.
Okay.
Okay.
And another thing,
Yeah.
how come we ain't got a new washing machine over there? We've been using one washing machine in my section there for 1 year now.
Over at Sunrise Court?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you use your mic? Go ahead, Leslie.
Yeah, I did let Housing know, but that was Dale. Let her know that that was an issue
Mm-hmm.
quite a while ago. You brought
Yeah,
that to my
over a year ago now.
See?
Okay. We have that in another email. Just kidding.
Okay.
Just let you know we're on it for you, Carolyn.
Yeah, right.
Thank you for coming in tonight.
Yeah.
And if you leave, don't forget to take some goodies with you.
Oh, I will.
Thanks, Carolyn.
How long will this be? It's got to be approved by the finance man.
Well,
She said she's going to hand the papers over to the finance man and see if he's going to approve it.
we'll take a look because we'll figure it out. Because she's the helps with finance too. She's the main finance person, so.
I would like to settle before
Yeah.
you close the office for next year.
Okay. So Jennifer is going to give you a call tomorrow.
Really?
Yes.
I'll be waiting.
Thanks, Carolyn. Okay, let's go to number 6. Adoption of general council minutes for November 26th. Moved by Cynthia, second by Carrie. All in favor? Anybody opposed? See none, carried. So we moved up updates for community committee because Dean has to go to the fire hall. Go ahead, Dean.
Thank you, Chief. Yes, I have an event with that recognizes the volunteer firefighters after this, so thank you very much for putting me up on the agenda. So I'm just going to give a quick update from the community committee, myself and Dale here. So first thing I want to talk about is just we are working with Crime Stoppers. They have been in the community before, but we're just making more awareness here. Constable Ed Bragg came in to the committee and he was discussing about more signage and encouraging community members to use this system as well. You know, it has nothing to do with the what he was saying. It's not associated with the police force, but it is a volunteer base, and there is more. Um, could be a potential reward for doing your part and for safety in the community. So, Dale, if you'd like to say more words onto that.
Yeah, I mean, Crime Stoppers has been in the community. People had accesses for the longest time, but now I guess what we approved at the last general council meeting is to enhance the advertisement within the territory. More signage will be placed, and I guess you want to put some along the roads and different areas where it's going to be high public access, maybe the public places. So it'll be placed there for your use. It is confidential, and any information you give will always be confidential. And if it leads to a successful conviction and arrest, then yeah, there's the possibility of a reward for you for doing your part to help keep the community safe. So look for that to be coming in the near future for more signage, and we'll be having. I guess one other thing that they're looking for is looking for a community member to volunteer to sit on their board. So if anybody is interested, then they can come forward. They can leave their name at the administration building for now, and then we can forward it on to Crime Stoppers, and they'll follow up with you. So thank you.
And the last little update here is just a big thank you for all the community members who participated in the pool discussion that happened at the community hall last Thursday, the 28th of November. I know that there was a much bigger turnout there online as well as in person. I think and right now, the views on the video, which is pretty nice, I think it's around 9,000. So it's really good to see that the community, we can come together for certain things like this, and everyone can be involved to have their voices heard. So I just want to say thank you very much for everybody who did take their time to answer questions, ask questions, and just participate. So moving forward with that, the board will be, the members who did leave their names and numbers will be contacted to then create a board to move forward on that. So I just want to say thank you all very much for that. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dean. Is there a mover to accept Dean's report? Moved by Audrey, second by Cynthia. All in favor? Anybody opposed? See none, carried. Let's go to number 7, my updates. On November 26th, I completed an interview with our lawyers regarding the Haldeman Tract court case. On November 26th and 27th, the path to reconciliation. I stopped in at Mott Hill Golf and Country Club to hear presentations. A gathering focused on relationship building with the surrounding hospitals and services. This event was hosted by the Wellbeing Department. I had a meeting also on the 26th with a group of community members who shared some concerns regarding the treatment of elderly, again, non-insured health benefits, speeding, crosswalks, animal control, and concerns were forwarded to staff or committees for response. Illegal dumping on November 27th, the Six Nations Chief of Police contacted me regarding illegal dumping on 4th Line. My office established a process with the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks, West Central Region, to report illegal dumping, as our goal is to stop it from occurring. Companies and individuals participating in illegal dumping could be fined. So please, as a reminder, if you see or suspect any trucks dumping waste in our community, please call Six Nations Police or my office immediately and report the location, the company name, or license plate. On November 27th, I also had a meeting with reps from Indigenous Services, along with Travis Anderson, regarding the federal schools. We discussed several issues related to our federal elementary schools. The purpose of the meeting was to gain an understanding of the policies or process so my office can get better support or direct community members that call my office. Wednesday, November 27th, I had a lunch with Mayor of Brant County. We talked about the recent Jingle Bell Night that I attended with the mayor and the meet and greet between our two councils that will be happening tomorrow night, December 11th. Indigenous Service Canada Ontario Region Monthly Chiefs Update. There was information shared on whooping cough. They provided reminders about winter safety. ISC acknowledged our community with an award. Gagno's Community Health Center and Six Nations of the Grand River have been chosen to receive the 2024 Award of Excellence at the Canadian Immunization Conference. The timing of the award is not good since Gagno's is closed, but know that we continue to work towards both an interim and long-term solution. On Saturday, November 30th, along with other counselors, attended the K.L. Martin Associates First Nations Engineering Annual Christmas Gathering. Thank you to K.L. Martin for the work your company does to support our community. December 5th, I attended a meeting discussing the latest planning for Gagno's. The portables and their locations still need to be decided. That's what we're deciding now, where the portables will be going. And again, this is a short term because we're still asking for a new rebuild. Turkey giveaway on December 2nd, council approved up to $25,000 to use to purchase turkeys, hams, and potatoes in support of a partnership with Ontario Works and Six Nations Food Bank and other community services. I attended a meeting on December 5th regarding the logistics of the event. The event will take place on December 17th at 8:30 a.m. until supplies run out at the Community Hall parking lot. Enter at Lawrence Jonathan Lane because the main entrance will be closed. It is also important to note that this giveaway is for community members on the territory. As part of this initiative, community members will be able to pick up a turkey or ham and 10-pound bag of potatoes while supplies last. This giveaway is specifically designed for individuals and families who will not receive a giveaway from the Six Nations Food Bank, Ontario Works, winter hampers, or other services. Also from November 26th to December 5th, I had 14 community complaints come in. Also, the community planters around the administration building in the village are now decorated. Also, there's candy canes hanging from the decorations for the community to enjoy. That's my update. Is there a mover to accept his information? Moved by Leslie, second by Greg. All in favor? Anybody opposed? See none, carried. Let's go to number 8. Leslie?
Thanks, Chief. I just want to give an update a little bit about some of the meetings that were held in Ottawa on Monday morning and throughout the day. And in those meetings would be, I'm just going to mention some of the people that were there. So MP Jamie Schmel with the Conservative Party, Laurie Eidelout, member of House of Commons from Lake Nunavut, and she's NDP. Patty Haidu, Minister of Indigenous Services Canada, out of Thunder Bay Liberal. I'm just mentioning the importance of who was there. And Lisa Westaway and Ontario Regional Chief Abram Benedict. Yep. Okay, so it was great meetings. There were other, as you know, there were other leadership sitting at the table from other First Nations. And so what they discussed was NIHB, the non-insured health benefits. So this was all spoken to throughout the day. What we're lacking, the various things, including like travel, where the civil servants, they would get a higher rate and the inequity. So they want it to be equal to, not less than, not raised, but equal to what is across the board here. They spoke to cultural competency when people are dealing with Indigenous First Nations people. It's not a one shoe fits all. It's not like that at all. So if you're here at Six Nations, then you would have to know the the norms and different things and nuances of our community. And that was that was awesome because there's also Anishinaabe at the table. There's Cree and us, us all across the nation. It's just wonderful and beautiful to see them there representing their nations as well. So the big things that came out was recently on the news, CTV carried, not just CTV, but other stations carried, where people were claiming, and they were psychiatrists, psychologists, stating that the residential school did not exist, and that is a blatant lie. And because of that, they had to go up to NIHB to state, you have people carry for our people in those, like psychology, doctor of psychology or psychiatrist, and you're not really looking at who they are. They can say they're familiar with the residential day schools. They can say they're, missing and murdered Indigenous women. They can say these things that they are familiar with, but they're not really looking into the background, their criteria for serving our people across the nation. And then they looked at Ex- Express Scripts, which is that's an American subsidiary that takes care of our NIHB, and it's not from Canada; it's from the United States. So they're paid over in excess of 100 million to take care of that. Then when we're calling to get these things covered, we're we're on a backlog. We're on a backlog of almost 6 months for a predetermination of our NIHB, what we can obtain and what we cannot. And yet, if you were to connect with Sun Life, if you have a carrier, personal health insurance, they can get it with one call. In a minute that you're covered or not covered. So there's this inequality that's in existence as well. And going forward, so that when you look at 6 months to having your information in 5 minutes, that's what I call unfair. So they're calling on these ministers that I mentioned to you that they address it. That if they're if they're going to be the new incumbents in the government, then that they will have an understanding of what's needed here at Six Nations and what we're looking for. Okay, and then they also said that NIHB was like a punitive system. What they're finding is when people are okay, let's maybe not here at Six Nations. Let's go into the northern areas, and I hope you don't mind me bringing this forward. Is the fact that when they have to fly out of somewhere in northern Ontario, and if the weather's bad, and they can't make that flight down to wherever they're coming down south for their services, they're blacklisted for 6 months to a year because they don't know the situation of why they couldn't make that flight. Well, the weather was bad. There was ice on the plane, whatever it took. But it's not that they intentionally missed it. They missed the flight because the flight didn't go or it didn't come up to get them. So these things are, there's no regulatory body between the regulatory body and NIHB services in itself. There's no one to state to them, look, these things are happening to our First Nations people. So and then looking at the drugs that are covered for our people, NIHB sits lower on some of the drug list than Ontario Welfare. And so that question was posed by Chief Miracle from Tyndonega. He posed that question like, why is what's that all about? So it's a good question to be asking, right? And then going forward, we talked about drinking water, kidney failure, diabetes, cancer, dialysis, all these contributing factors to the unwellness of some people, right? So NIHB, they wanted to take a closer look to all the issues that we have across the board of Ontario and Canada. And then I thought that the qualifications for somebody to serve our people would be rigid. Apparently, it's not. Because in a write up that was presented at the meetings, it clearly identified that some people had very heavy criminal records, and yet nobody was doing a background check, just hiring them on and servicing families of vulnerable peoples. right? So that was I'm very glad that they brought that. And then there is an increase in food banks across Canada, and we know that, we see it, and I know that nobody is happy for that at all. You know, you know some of the reasons why that's increasing, and I think that when you see that commercial on TV about uh, the prime minister presently, when they talk about people being homeless, that's our heart. That's where our heart is here at this table, is about making sure that uh, anybody that's impoverished, anybody that's hurting or out there and needs help, our hearts go out to them, and we use our best efforts to help them. So when things are being backlogged and they're being like I couldn't believe it that she actually came and brought you an NIHB situation this evening, and I'm so thankful. It was a good opener, an eye opener for us to see that seniors are not being even really considered in that health, what they're looking for, and the government underfunding is very critical at this time, and it's not just that it just started yesterday. It's been ongoing underfunding that's for every sector of our community, whether it's housing, medical, education, infrastructure, you name it. It is underfunded incredibly. So then I just want to look at a few other things on here before talking more about it. The disability. Um, People assume, well, in the government anyway, they assume if somebody's disabled that there's a doctor's reasoning why that's happened. That's untrue. To assume that if somebody is getting around in a wheelchair or using, uh, starting to decline in their mobility, that doesn't mean that there is a clear reason why that's happening. So, NIHB again is like failing to see that has a governing or regulatory board to say why is it existent, and then we go forward to there has to be more inclusion also for our sometimes disabled people in society in everything that we do. Okay, and then the Accessible Canada Act and the Advancing Distinct First Nations Accessibility legislation. We need to make a smooth, well, the word was segue, a smooth transition into us leading our health. A smooth, better, better lenses from our own perspective here at Six Nations. And there is a lack of First Nation data that some of the First Nations are seeking. So it's not just us; it's across the board, and that if it's about us, then it should be owned by us. Okay, and then yesterday morning, there would be a meeting with Minister Thibodeau on mental health. I wasn't a part of that, so I'm going to be looking for the update so I could provide that. And in closing, I just want to mention this class action that's going on. It's I heard about this when I was in Thunder Bay at the COO meetings that were up there, the Chiefs of Ontario meetings, and it's the federal program. It's the Indian boarding home. I don't know if anybody from Six Nations attended or if they opened their homes to people that needed to go to school, but it's for those that went to boarding homes for educational purposes between 1951 and 1992, and it's open to you even if you applied to other class actions. The person or persons would have lived with a family for post-secondary or high school and not have lived in an institution but lived in somebody's home. Remember, this was a federal program, so uh, persons had to be alive as late as July 24th, 2016, and this claim is open until August 2027, so it's been open. And I didn't know about it until I went to Thunder Bay to hear about that at that meeting. The person may not have all the info, but your name and some information will help the process. Like, get it started and get it going. So category 1 is minimally $10,000. Category 2 is above 10,000 up to $200,000 for like abuse, neglect. I can't describe what that would be for somebody else, but But they said the turnaround time is sometimes a person has waited for 1 month and have received their funds. But it also takes 4 weeks to get it, up to 4 weeks for them to say, yes, we have your claim. You know what I mean? That you have to give them some time. But from the time that they say they have your claim, it's been like that. So then you would ask, well, how do I get this application? Well, you can fill it out online or get it or write to them and get the application or download the application. And again, they'll acknowledge you within 4 weeks. So it's the federal program, Indian Boarding Home. And we do have one application here in council. So, okay, so, and if there's anything else I'd like to say, under the leadership of our director of well-being, like Deb, Deb Jonathan, and health services, I just want to commend them because before we left to go out there, she held a 2-day conference over down here on Six Nations, and that was to address cultural competency. And I'm out there and I'm hearing about that. They need it, and we are on it, and we're doing it. And I just want to tell her thank you, and I want to tell our Six Nations Health Services thank you for all that you do. And to our community, uh, have a great winter. Enjoy your evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. Can I have a mover to accept her report? Moved by Melba, second by Hazel. All in favor? Anybody opposed? See none, carried. Comment, Melba?
Comment, yeah, I have a short report.
Okay, I'm just gonna hang on a second.
Okay.
Go ahead, Helen.
No, I just wanted to thank Leslie. I thought that was a real good report. Thank you.
Okay, so let's go to number 8. We'll go next. I guess Melba's got a report.
Yes, I do. It's a short report, and as you know, I sit on the police commission as well as Kanakashwa, and you don't have a lot of information that comes forward based on the business that they're in with confidentiality and a lot of our community members. So this is a meeting that took place on the 20th of November, and it's to do with business related to the October meeting. Executive Director Sandra Montour presented highlights from the project Love Builds the Bundle Halloween Scare Fair held on October 30th. The project involved the creation of a toolkit that focuses on supporting two-spirited peoples within our community and their families, frontline workers, and organizations, and the development of training resources for parents and caregivers. Approximately 325 community members attended the Halloween Scare Fair. The whole organization was involved, Ganagashra, and each program was on hand to provide support, promotional materials, and fun activities for the guests. An exclusive to SLBGQ Plus wheel spin trivia game for families promoted a fun fair which fostered understanding, celebration, diversity, and engagement with children in light-hearted learning. This trivia game combines fun and education, making it perfect for schools, youth groups, and family gatherings. I thought that was really important to hear that. I wasn't at this meeting, but they send me this report. Um, but I've always been very concerned for two-spirited people and whatever else you want to call, certainly gender identity, children and adults in our community. I don't think there's enough concentration on that. I always have been concerned specifically for children. Um, I think we've had a lot of suicides in this community as well as other areas, and violence and discrimination, all these things that harm children and make them feel inferior, unwanted. Sometimes they can't even turn to their own families because they don't know how to handle it or they don't accept it. So I thought I'd bring that to your attention that it needs to be in the school system even more, but they certainly have some training available if it's necessary at the shelter. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Melba. Thank you for your report. Is there a mover to accept his information? Moved by Greg, second by Dale. All in favor? Be opposed? See none carried. Okay, let's go to number 9. We did number 1, so let's go to number 2, Justice, Unity, Building, and Government Relations. Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, yeah, thank you, Chief. The, I was away and wasn't able to attend the last meeting. I was away in council business. But further to that is, we're still working and we've been contacted by Toronto. They still want us to have strong membership on their procurement strategy for our small businesses and large businesses in the city of Toronto, and we're still working on that. We will be meeting with them actually tomorrow, and to push that further along, looking at both immediate ways of we could go into Toronto with some of our First Nation businesses, as compared to the longer term strategies, which is they're working on, and they're estimating the strategy to be completed in 5 years. I think I'd mentioned that before. And they're pleased that Six Nations is a representative on that strategy group. One other thing too is the Chiefs of Ontario, working with the regional chief, has Regional Chief Benedict has appreciated our actually activities with them now that they are starting to get towards lobbying both in Ontario and Ottawa, and they will be including us in their lobbying sessions moving forward. So we'll get a chance to speak with ministers and also hopefully the premier at higher levels. So that's encouraging. And as far as local businesses, I think we are still working on gaining some information, of course, on our excise tax and carbon tax issues. As you know, that we will be, as you know, Chief, you will be a witness at the parliamentary committee as they look at excise taxes. Thanks.
Okay, thank you for the update. Is there a mover to accept his information? Moved by Hazel, second by Leslie. All in favor? Be opposed? See none carried. Let's go to number 3, Built Environment and Climate Adaptation, Lands and Membership. Go ahead, Dale.
Thank you, Chair. As you can see, our committee has grown. We have adopted land membership within our committee. And I know this month's been pretty busy, so we haven't really had a meeting. We're just kind of getting bounced around right now with all the council meetings. We were scheduled to have one, I think it was Thursday. So unfortunately, council was busy that day, and so we're looking at the 17th, and now we're going to be having a meeting on the 20th of December. So from 9 until 12, that'll be our next committee meeting. Some of the things that are outstanding is, and I have to follow up with Andrew at this point, because I haven't heard back in relation to the actual scheduling date. And I know we were looking at the second or third weekend in January to review housing policies. So I know that's still pending. So I know councilors had a choice of dates, a couple dates to pick, and I'm not sure if it was follow-up had done with Andrew. So I'll follow up with Andrew to see, or Natasha to see if that's been clarified. I think that's pretty well it. So hopefully after the next meeting, I'll have more information in relation to some outstanding issues. I know there's been a few council meetings where some items have been added onto our agenda in regards to buildings or office buildings or whatever for community needs. So we'll be looking at that and addressing that with our committee as well. Thanks,
Okay,
Chief.
thank you, Dale. Can I have a mover to accept his information? Moved by Audrey, second by Hazel. All in favor? Anybody opposed? See none carried. Helen, you have an addition?
Yeah, I got a call from a lady that wants her, her daughter wants to get into Girl Guides, and the Girl Guides have offered to come to Six Nations, but they said they need a letter from the chief to do that. I guess they had put in a request a couple months ago. I don't know with who, one of your staff, I guess, for this letter. So the lady was wondering when they were gonna get the letter. The lady from here was wondering when they're gonna get the letter.
I haven't received anything about Girl Guides.
Oh,
So if you can get her to call my office,
okay.
and then let's go from there.
All right.
Okay, thank you. Leslie?
I just have one question, if someone can help me out with this. Do you remember that donation program?
Donation fund?
Yes.
Yes.
Can somebody elaborate on that for me? Because I don't have any information on it.
Go ahead, Jennifer.
Thank you. So I think the donation that you're referring to is not the donation committee that we have had longstanding. It's the one that we established this fiscal year. So that was a donation for the criteria of the sort of as external businesses that were coming to us and things of that nature that are looking for nominal donations. So there was, I think, $75,000 that we set aside to that, if I remember correctly. Yep, thanks, Counselor. And it was intended so that we could have some expedience through that went outside of that donation committee. So it's essentially reviewed as it comes in. And if it's eligible criteria for what was put into the motion, then it would be processed administratively. Is that good? Thank you.
Okay, Greg?
Yeah, now that we're coming to the end of the year, entering into the festive season, I would just like to thank all our, we've had a lot of social events this year. Everything from our usual, parades and bread and cheese and fall fairs and fire galas and so on, the watch parties, our Stanley Cup, on and on. I just wanted to thank all the volunteers that come out to help out. We can't put these on without your help. Our staff, of course, they work late and they work long hours, and I really do appreciate all of their work, and also the community members as a whole for coming out and participating. We've had senior events, and of course, a lot of the sports teams too have done well this year as well. So I know we've got a Man Cup and a little NHL. We've had some champs there, as well as being bronze medalists in the women's and men's Haudenosaunee World Lacrosse Championships. So I do just wanted to send a real, I would say, congratulations to both community and to all the teams, and also wish them a nice holiday. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. And I echo that. I think we all do. Okay, so that ends our agenda. Pardon me? Comment, Dale?
Yeah, I just want to comment to the community and the people who are listening, because I know today's the 10th, and I think next, the 16th, will be our last sitting council meeting. But I know there's people that watch in the evening and there's people that watch in the day, so maybe they may not always be the same. But just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, and enjoy your family time from us here at Six Nations Council. Thank you.
Carrie?
Yeah, I just want to thank Dale for putting that little do on last night over at the ambulance building. It was all of Terry's family was there, and it was pretty good. And we had a good feed also.
Thank you.
Okay. Again, like what Dale said and Greg, happy holidays to everyone in the community. Be safe and check on everyone, check on the elders, and we will see you in the new year for the next general council. So, can I have a motion to adjourn to go to in camera?
I'll move.
Move. Oh, there, Amos, I can hear you. It's
I figured it out.
okay. Moved by Amos, second by Melba. All in favor? Anybody opposed? See none, carried. Thank you for joining us tonight, everyone, and have a great night.